Yeah, some of the parents for know what you them are going with, you know. Don't allow your youth them to roam the street. Take responsibility for the youth them. You know what I'm doing tonight? You know what I'm going tonight? Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them know the war a go on, but them a left it go on. No wicked things a go on, they when it escalate. Them know the war a go on, even before it took on. They could have stopped it from going, but now it's too late. Everybody hear the gunshot down there, see the dead man lay down there. Hear the panic and the bawling down there, helicopter with the bright light down there. Big investigation down there, them can't find a witness down there. Strict code of silence down there, not talk to policeman down there. Everybody want run figure round there, not talk myself figure down there. Anytime see the blue light down there, them don't have nothing for me round there. Be a chop up and shoot up down there. Be a dead body lay down round there. Carnage round there, bloodshed round there. Be a dead body lay down round there. Murder come with me, here a woman she a scream. Police them a come with them murder team. Me see the blue light and me hear the siren. No evidence no left on the scene. And me say down in the estate when gunshot a bark. Everybody know the gunman, nobody not talk. You talk to police and then you get your face marked. You find your body on the sidewalk. Well, now picture the scenes. The youth them are driving a car in trees with the machines. The gun them tall up through the sunroof with red laser beams. The way them a live them life nowadays is like a bad dream. Wanna see what I mean? Know the road I get hotter. Dreaming in a car with it all up tall, I'm a real top shotter. Them run the era and the estate, no one bother. Juvenile see the car and the boy and the thing, and them one follow. And then them a follow. So go on and get some education, get some top qualification. Put on the gun, forget the gangbang. Legal money where you want, now you're on. Flash car, house and land. You will get it if you stick to the plan. Long road shot, catch listen me no man. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. So we want more. U-N-I-T-Y and it's C-I-T-Y. You can F-L-Y if you T-R-Y. More life for the youth, but I want no more youth. Tell me have to tell mama, nobody C-R-Y. Get anything you want, set your standard. I will want role model, lift up the youth, them eyes. So believe in yourself and make we live a better life. Come live a better life. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road. Them a link up on the estate, repping to area code. The youth them won't live good out a road.
You've only got one shot. Make it count.
Keeping it real with Rudi Lickwood, the topical interactive chat show where you may end up being one of the guests, with special guests and you the audience. Comedy with Rudi Lickwood. This event is brought to you by Comedy Oxford. Don't forget, keeping it real with Rudi Lickwood. This is an 18 certificate only.
Whoa, you caught me looking at my notes. You're so nosy. How you guys doing? How are you guys doing? We are pushing towards the 25th of December, which means that I'm going to have a break. I'm going to have a good, solid break. Because I've been going since what now? Yeah, man. I would say It's got to be March, isn't it? Around March time now. Got involved in the phone, started talking to it. It started talking to me back. People started messaging me. Next thing I knew, people were telling me, why don't we do a show? Why don't we do a show? I said, why should we do a show? We should do a show. I said, all right then. All right then. I said, let's do a show. What sort of show are we going to do? They said, you got to interview people, innit? You got to talk to people. I goes, all right then. Who am I going to talk to? Let me get out my little black book. Nah, don't get out your little black book. Interview us. Interview us. I said, all right then. I'll start interviewing you. And hence, that is how the Rants and Bants crew was put together. This is not so much my platform as it is the people's platform, you know. I literally get dictated to, believe it or not. I get told who I'm meant to bring on, when I'm meant to bring on, how I'm meant to bring on, not to talk over people. I get constantly told, stop talking over people, Rudy. Just let the conversation go. Just let the conversation go. I was like, all right then. I'll let the conversation go. Then I was told, you know what? This ain't long enough. You need to make it longer. And I was like, I was refusing to make the show longer. I was absolutely refusing to make it longer. I said, no, an hour is enough. That's enough time. And he's like, all right then, well, if you're going to do an hour, only one guest. And I go, if I'm going to only have one guest, that means one of your guests can't come on. They didn't like the sound of that. No, the Rants and Bants crew didn't like the sound of that. They were like, no, I tell you what, Rudy, just extend the time. So tonight has been extended, right? And as it's the last of my shows, right, I thought I'd get bigger brands than myself, right? People who've been hosting and talking to people for years, donkey's years, you know, and let's try and get behind them and find out what motivates them to actually get up and start talking to people in the first place. You know what I mean? Because you don't just get up and just start talking. That ain't possible. I mean, I got up and I started doing comedy because I didn't like what was being said about my people. You know what I mean? I didn't like what was being said about me, you know, especially through the backdrop of comedy, using comedy as an excuse to ridicule different cultures. I just didn't like it. And not only that, but I love to laugh. That's why I used to watch the comedians. And then I found out I was very own way, very stubborn, very single-minded in the way I went about things. So I thought I'd see if I could find people who were just similar to myself in that respect. So I thought this would be an excellent way to bring out. So the first guy that I want grabbed to me by the throat, right, with the things that was falling out of his mouth when he was talking on his chat show. And you know me, I don't mention their name first of all. The first thing that I do before I even mention their name, right, is I give you an opportunity to have a little look upon them. Marky Mark. How you doing, big man?
I'm doing good, my brother. I'm doing very well. I'm doing great. I'm very blessed. Hard at work, as you know, but I'm trying to make time for you good guys.
No, I'm thankful for the time that you managed to spare, because I know that your time, you know what I mean, it's dictated by other things and other people. Yeah, but the first thing I have to say to you is that I'm kind of concerned. I'm kind of concerned, Marky Mark. I was looking all over your page. I was looking all over your page, looking for pictures that I wanted to put up for your collage, yeah? And I noticed there was a lot of dresses on your page, bruv. What go on with all them dresses? All about dress. I think say you're a cross dresser or something. I mean, what go on? Is there some kind of secret up behind there?
No. You didn't see me in any dresses. No. Let's not get it twisted. We don't want your audience to think that, you know, I'm one of these swinger guys like that. No. I dress appropriately for wherever I am. You know,
I hear that, bro. I hear that.
But no dresses. I'm no David Beckham. No dresses, no sarongs.
Okay. So what, was you selling dresses back in the day or something?
Pardon?
Was you selling dresses then? Were you were you promoting? What were you doing with the dresses all on your page? I want to know why the dresses were there on your page, basically.
Oh, that's at the beginning, right? So what
Yes.
that was a friend of mine, and she has now opened up a shop. But before
Okay.
she opened up the shop, she used to try and plug her dresses and what she was doing on my page and other people's page just to promote what she was doing. So being the kind-hearted man that I am, I let her have my page and let loose. And look where it's got. And look where it's got me to. People are questioning my masculinity.
Yes, bro. That's right. Well, you know what we like in the community, man. When it comes to them things, we're kind of like, we're not exactly one au fait with it. Do you know what I mean? There's masculine and there's feminine, and never the two supposed to meet. I say supposed to meet because society has changed, as you know, and we've all
very much so.
You know, we've all had to adapt to the changes that's happening, especially with our younger generation, should I say? Yeah. Not to say that homosexuality wasn't around before, but it was.
Yeah.
But now it's more legal, so we have to watch what we say, how we say, you know.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Got to be careful. There's quite a few people who are saying hello to you, by the way.
Good evening. I'm working with my phone, so I can't see everybody's name. I'm looking
okay.
Up,
well, let me give you the names. I'll give you the names. That will help because the bifocals them now focus for you. Right? Carol, we've got Carol. Someone just saying good evening, Mr. Rowe. She's actually called him Mr. Rowe. Claire is saying good evening, Mark. Denise is saying good evening, Marky Mark. Trevor's putting up the flags already. He's put up his Jamaican flags. His little monkey flags, putting them up. That's Trevor. Donna is saying it now work for you because she a Guyanese. Jackie's saying good evening, greetings, Marky Mark. And then there's quite a few. There's loads of hellos for you. Not people.
Thank you very much.
What do you mean not people? It's like they're getting feisty now. They're already starting to get feisty in the room, man. They're getting feisty. They're getting feisty. So my question has to be from the off. Yeah. Who is Marky Mark? I mean, yes. Let's start. It sounds like a weird question, but may I have to ask because I know, say you're a big name DJ, on the DJ circuit, if I'm correct.
Yes, I've been around for a long time. On our particular DJ circuit, I've been around for about the last 30 years. That's as you can see.
Yes, those are great years of wisdom, if I'm correct.
They are indeed.
Not stress, I hope.
Never stress. I'm too blessed.
Because the thing is that I was unfortunate. Not unfortunate. The thing is, I was so busy, developing my comedy career that I wasn't really able to follow the DJs as well as the 9 till 5ers who can't wait for the weekend to approach. And I came across you as a talk show host. That's how I came across you. Yeah. And so that is what really kind of like interests me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more interested in how that come about, that side of you.
That side. Okay. Well, if we talk about the talk show side of things, that all came about in, what would I say? It would have been about 2005 when I was on a pirate station called Baseline FM. I hope that a lot of you remember Baseline FM. We was one of the hottest stations back in the 90s and early 2000s. We had some very innovative and creative guys, DJs on that station, and I was really proud to be a part of what we built on there. But that's where it started from. My very good friend, DJ Yardi, who was running the station at the time, he came up with the idea that the station needed a talk show just to give a little bit of balance to all the great music that we was playing. And he approached me and he said, Mark, I want to do a talk show and I want you to do it. And I'm like, what do you mean you want me? He says, well, look, you got stuff to say, you're intelligent. Thank you for that, Yardi. You're intelligent. and he wants me to host and front the talk show. So at first I was a little bit, excuse me, I was a little bit, I don't know, but we'll give it a go. So the first show, what we done was he came on with me, and it was sort of like our pilot show. And so the first ever show, we was just talking about, we was running jokes, and we was talking about fashion police, and just talking about how people dress up on the circuit who come out to rave, and those that knew fashion, those that were a slave to fashion, those that didn't have a clue where fashion came from and were just wearing something because it was the latest brand. And as we know, not all fashion is for everybody. It's how you put yourself together. You can have one man in Armani, and you can have another man in Primani, and the Primani man outdoes the Armani man simply because he knows how to put his clothes and swag it, as to say. So we done a show, and it was quite funny. It was very funny, in fact. And so we had lots of calls, lots of input, feedback. So when the show finished, he's just said to me, well, do you know what? Continue tomorrow. We're going to do this 3 days a week, Tuesday to Thursday, 6 till 7, 1 hour. I need your commitment. And he got me, because basically Yardi is he is my oldest friend in life. I've known him since I was 4 years old. So there was no way of me getting away from that. So I took it from there. And at the time, I was a white van driver, one of those couriers up and down the place who think that we own the road because we're driving a white van. And,
you see, you couriers, I like to give you couriers a little nudge. When I see I'm a bumper, I like give you a little nudge. Give you a little nudge.
Oh, no. Oh, you wouldn't have wanted to nudge me back in the day. I'm one of them couriers. I'm nudging you and I'm flying out of the van after you and all of that. So it was while I was driving up and down, and I had to start to think about, well, okay, I'm on the show tonight. I've got to think about topics to talk about. So my thing was, I always had an area of consciousness about me. I grew up in the 80s. I was on the New Cross. I was on the New Cross Fire March. You know, I was in and around the Brixton riots and all the stuff that used to happen. The police in the Black Mariah vans driving out and beating us up, all these sort of things. So I went back to that as my source of inspiration, because I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to talk to the community, I want to highlight some of the negative stuff that's attached to us, you know, all the time. It's attached to us by other people that we're supposed to look at it as something positive, and it's nothing positive. So I wanted to go down deep and start highlighting the negative stuff. And I'm the sort of person that, you know, if we're in a negative situation, like we are in now with COVID and all of these tears and stuff, let's pick out one positive aspect and let's build a platform and build from there. So, you know, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, let's get a positive, you know, something to hang on to, and let's get on from there. Let's try and empower ourselves. So that's where it really started for me. And as the days and the weeks and the months went by all means, the show became very successful. Obviously, we was on pirate radio, so I couldn't really. We didn't have a way of configuring how much viewing audience we had. Those listening on the radio, those phoning in, etc. But you know, it was very popular. People used to call me up all the time, and it started from there, and we built it from there. And for about 3-4 years, it was a very successful show. Even so, to the fact that it opened up other opportunities for me. I was contacted by the BBC on a few occasions, and the BBC used to send taxis down for me. I felt really good at the time, I'm not going to lie. They would send taxis down from their Wood Lane studios to come and pick me up, and had me guest slotting on various DJs on Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio 2 to come and give my input. And it would have been mostly on, I would say, young people's and young black people's issues is what it mostly pertained to. But I was glad for the opportunity. But at the same time, it was a great experience. But for me, I had to kind of like, you know, zip this. I couldn't talk the way how I talked on baseline, you know,
Okay.
because they spoke to me and
Okay.
said, yeah, you know, we know what you're about, but, you know, this is national legal radio, so you've got to be mindful of what you're saying. So where I'd be cussing
Yeah.
people and telling them about their what's not, I had to be a lot more
About the
conservative.
bomber cloud, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, can
No,
I
I
say
can
that? Yes.
understand
When I,
that.
yeah, when I really want to
No,
cuss them and
this
tell them
keep it
about
real.
their
This is
clout. Oh, this is like
mm,
the freedom of speech, so
yeah,
I can tell people about their clout and their what's not. Well,
yeah.
that's right. Well,
This is Rudi Lickwood's platform. So it's them that all know
okay.
me. I mean, but it's in a sense, I'm very much like you. On one level is that I do select when and why I'm saying what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
You know, you don't stump your toe and go. You don't stump your toe and go, oh, sausages. You stump your toe and you go, shit. You go. It's a real
That's right.
response that you will get from me.
It's real, yeah. Yeah.
It's not a forced response, but it's actually a real response. And then again, I guess the way that my household was, my dad, oh my God, my dad was terrible. His language was out of order, but that was only because there were no elders over here when he came. Because he
Right.
came in the 50s. He came in the 50s, right? And he basically ran
Okay.
riot. You know, because I live in northwest London, whereas you live in
Southeast London. I'm a South Londoner. You know us, the popular ones.
and I take it that's
You know.
you.
Yeah, that's me as a little baby. Look at me there. Boy, I've come a long way.
You've even got hair, blood.
I even had hair then. Look at that. Lots of hair too. Oh my God. Yeah, that was many moons ago. And I'd like to think that I've developed into quite a decent character. That's not my pictures. Oh, you've gone. That's not mine.
Oh, I do
that's
apologize.
not mine.
I don't know where I got that. That must have carried over. That must have definitely carried over. But you actually mentioned the fire, right? So
The new crossfire.
Yeah, you actually mentioned the new crossfire because I'm sure that must have shaped quite a few of your opinions on things.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, the way the whole thing panned out. I lost one of my good friends, Andrew Gooding, at the new crossfire. There was me. What was that? There, a cross between Sean Puffy Coombs and Frankie Paul in that picture. Yeah, raving at one of them pajama parties back in the day. Yeah, so being involved with the new crossfire.
What was you then? About 18?
Yeah, I would have said about 19. Yeah, I think I was about 19 in that picture there.
Okay.
Yeah, me and my crew used to go to the Jet Promotions weekenders to where did we go? Jet Promotions, Southport, I believe. They used to have coaches from all over the country. Great times, great weekenders, great times, great memories, definitely. And you got me in just the dressing gown alone. Yeah, because
Southport is even
must have been great times. Yeah, it's happening now, but back then.
Southport is even going on today, if I'm right.
That's right. Yeah, it's going on today. RMP Promotions, they're still going to Southport today. And they've been doing that for a few years, but this was back in the 80s. So I've got to big up anybody connected with Jet Promotions because you gave me some of the greatest times in my young up-and-coming life, I've got to say.
Okay. Because you start, like you said, you grew up around Dulwich, the Dulwich Village, if I'm correct.
Dulwich Village, I wish. Yeah, that's where Maggie Thatcher lived. No, I was in East. I was in East Dulwich. East Dulwich is not what it is now. East Dulwich today is very much gentrified. You see on Homes Under the Hammer every other week. But when I was growing up as a little boy, East Dulwich was just known as the little pass-through place from Peckham to Brixton. You know, so we had to battle to make East Dulwich our own and make a little name for East Dulwich. Because, you know, as I said, it was the bridge between Peckham and Brixton. But again, great times. It was a great place to grow up. Shaped me very well, and yeah, got nothing but happy memories of being in and around East Dulwich. definitely. I still call it my home today, and I've left there since 1990. But I still class it as my home. That's where I was born. That's where I was shaped. I've got lifelong friends that still live there from going to primary school and secondary school that I'm still very closely linked with. So I can never forget or give up my East Dulwich roots. No way. East Dulwich, Peckham, the two of them, you know, that was me.
Okay.
So you had some boys who would say, oh, they were from Brixton, just to seem that little bit more fashionable or to seem that little bit more badder. But I always try to keep it real. Dulwich where I was born, Dulwich where I come from, Dulwich where I'm big up.
Because you've quite clearly demonstrated that you're a man about town, yeah. You know, you're all around the speaker boxes, you're all around the DJs, all around the women, etc., etc. But then, what is Mark like when he's away from all of that? What is Mark about when he's away from all of that? Because you take on some serious issues, and you don't just take them on, right? But you're very involved in what goes on within the community. I'd like you to talk a bit more about that, about some of the work. Yeah,
I think
like
now
to talk a bit about the work you do outside of all of this.
Right, outside of all of this,
Oh, no.
you know, I'm still.
I do apologize for the.
Yeah, outside of the work that I do on radio, I'm still very passionate about my community. And one thing that I'm definitely passionate about is giving back, because too many of us, we're very good at taking all the applause, taking all the big ups and stuff like that. But are we really giving back? So that's what I'm really about, you know, today. That's me. And for a good few years is giving back. And in terms of that, I mean, the two jobs that I do, I work with young boys in care and mentoring young boys in care who are separated from their families, or their families are too dysfunctional to look after them. And we try and empower these boys and show them that the streets is not the way. And we teach them how to, just the basic everyday skills of life, such as washing your own clothes, using a washing machine, preparing a meal for yourself, opening a bank account for yourself, getting into education, furthering yourself, trying to empower yourself. So I've been doing that work for 16 years on and off. I had a 5-year gap because I was so intense in the work.
You hear that, people? 16 years this man has been doing this, yeah? And mainly when people see you, they see you somebody who's just behind the decks, or somebody with a mic in your hand, or somebody with that because me know say you like your rum. Yeah, me know say like you always got a bottle of something in your hand.
Definitely, you always got Ray nephew.
Yeah, you have Ray nephew, a friend.
What? I'm an uncle, I'm a nephew.
So I'm not gonna. I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't even use the word that it's a facade for you, because it's a definite release. You know.
Oh, definitely.
It's
That's
a definite
my religion.
Release.
Yeah.
Okay. And it would be interesting if you're willing to share how lockdown has actually affected you personally. You know,
lockdown. While we've had people on social media cussing lockdown, and again, just focusing on the negative aspects of lockdown. As I said, I'm always one of these that the cup's half full and not half empty. So I look at it. If I got time on my hands, make use of it. And I spent lockdown with my mother. And let me tell you, for 3-4 months, it was one of the best times of my life. It was just me and mum, me getting up every day, cooking breakfast, cooking dinner, talking about what we're going to have for dinner today, mum, trying to get her off the rice and peas, chicken, oxtail, curry goat, you know, mackerel, saga, and trying to introduce her to some different foods that I was cooking at the time, and say, look, come and try some of these European dishes. Let's even try and fuse some of these European dishes with what we eat in Jamaica. And absolutely loved it. She loved it. And I think we kind of, even if I can say, reconnected. I bonded more again with my mother. And so for that, I've got to take a lot out of lockdown, because if COVID didn't happen, I'd be just passing through. Mum, you're okay. You're okay. You need me to take you shopping, whatever. You need something out the road. But we actually spent days and weeks at a time, and it would just be the two of us. And it was really good. It was very satisfying for me, because especially 2020 has shown us that at just a drop of a hat, things have gone. 1 minute you're up, next minute you're gone.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
and
on my
people are
arse,
dropping
mate. I
life.
don't mind sharing that. I'm on my arse, man.
Well,
I am. I mean, the amount of work that I had
yes,
before COVID hit, yeah, and then it just disappeared. Like, it just disappeared overnight. But you've got a certificate
just
in
like
your
that.
hand. You've got a certificate in your hand, and another thing that's all over your pages is food. It's all over your
food.
page.
All over my page, all over my page. That picture there with the certificate is when I passed out as a healthy cookery tutor. I took a course on healthy cooking. And so that picture represents when I passed there to go out in the community and teach healthy cooking classes. Teaching people just to cut down on their salt, sugar, and fats, and how you can even prepare the same old salty Jamaican food. Eat it same way, but just cutting out on the salt and the fat, and just eating it a bit more healthier. Diabetes is a big problem in our community. And if I can help, you know, just even a small part of the community to rebrand how they eat their food, how they cook their food, then I'm happy with that. So in this actual picture now that you've put up, that was me at the Brit School, Hotel Udos in South London, if you know the Brit School, and it's a performing arts school. And I was called down there to do a food presentation on healthy cooking. So they invited me to come down to put together a couple of quick and easy, healthy food dishes, which went down very well. And as I've said, in every avenue that I've directed my life, I do it with passion. If I don't have passion, then I don't really want to do it. You'll notice that, oh, Mark's just doing this for the sake of doing it. But working with young people and cooking right now, that's even taking over the music. You know, those are my real, especially the cooking. That's my passion.
I think what people don't know about you is that, yeah, you've took on the cooking and you've said healthy eating, but you also help the single parent mothers and with their children in terms of how to. You go further, Mark. You go further. I think you're holding back a little bit too much for my liking.
All right, you really want my boss to see me.
Yes,
all right. Okay, so I teach a weekly class for young mums, in which we invite young mums in the community to join our organization, and they can come along on a Friday. They bring their children. I have a creche class with staff that will look after their babies, and the mums will come in the kitchen with me, and we'll cook up all those kind of meals, dishes that you've seen on my page are the ones that I've created by my young mums. We're affiliated with an organization called FareShare. FareShare gets all the surplus foods from all of the supermarkets and the food outlets up and down the country. They've got various warehouses. So I deal with one in Deptford in London, where you can pay a yearly annual fee and you can pick up a certain amount of food every week. So I will go there and pick up food, and whatever they give me, we try and construct a meal out of what they've given us. Some weeks, what they give us isn't enough. So then I'll go into my pocket and go to the local supermarket and buy some other ingredients, and we go in the kitchen and we put foods together. And that particular class has been running for 3 years now, and I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, I give my all to that class every Christmas.
With a bottle in his hand. He does it with a bottle in his hand. He does it with a bottle.
There you go. You see the headline, yeah? Just the three of us. Me, Ray, and his nephew. Yeah, so that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, because now people can get to understand the gravitas of where you come from when you say the things that you say. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to say it. Oh, you should do this and you should do that and you should do this. But you actually live it. And that's where I have to give you the utmost respect. I have to give you that utmost respect for doing that.
Thank,
You know,
thank you very much. I think in our community, there's too much lip service. You know, there's people with so much to say, but it's only a soundbite. It sounds good. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk. And I really don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want people to look at me, oh, look, Mark over there, he says he's going to do this and that, but he don't do sweet FA. You know, that's not me. As I said earlier, if I'm into something, then you get my all, you get my passion. Maybe that's why I cuss and talk so bad on the radio, because that's just the passion of me talking. It's not me talking against the sound bites or for likes. That's just me. That's the real me and what comes out. You know, I can't dilute myself.
That's what I like. You're not out to appease. You're saying, boy, right is right, left is left, you know. And the sheer fact that you use a lot of West Indian sayings is what also gets me, because as a comedian, we have to look for those things. Do you know what I mean? The little smile axe lick down big tree. You know what I mean? All them little gems that just fall out your mouth without you even thinking about it. You just drop it, and at the same time, you know, it's like you're plugging the gap of the absent fathers. That's how I look at it. That's how I personally look at it. Because when you decide that you're going to be a mentor, that's exactly what you're doing. I mean, I was asked to do that, and I said no. Me have 4 gal and me or me have to look after. You know, but you, you've brought up yours.
Yeah, I've brought up mine. Look, there's me with my first daughter outside Calvary Temple Church in Camberwell New Road. The blessing of my first daughter. That was another proud day for me. But as you were saying, I've brought up my own, and I would like to add, as I would say, a positive influence onto everybody's child. The same daughter that I was holding in the previous picture, this is her getting married in Tobago. So again, that was a very proud day for me, giving away my daughter. I had to threaten, you know, my future son-in-law just to make him know, don't rap with my child. Because if you rap with my child, I'll murder him. You know, I love my children dearly. Yeah.
For me, this is positive. This is positive because we're so consistently told that the black man doesn't want to be there for his kids. He's absent. He's irresponsible. He's whatless. You know, they're never around. Right? All they do is just go out and drink, you know. Whereas you're saying that with a decent balance, you know, and a stable mind, a lot could be achieved. A hell of a lot.
Well, definitely. In everything in life, you've got to have balance. You know, you've got to have yin and you've got to have yang, and you've got to have balance in life. So I try to, as best as possible, live my life with some balance. So it was, if I take it back a bit, when I first started doing the talk shows back on Baseline, I used to have people approaching me in the dances and stuff, and they'd be like, Mark, but you're quite intelligent. You've got things to say. And I used to look at them and think, what's the matter? You think me as some idiot. And then, but I understood where they were coming from, because all they saw me was in a dance, raving, playing music, rubbing up girls, drinking brandy, drinking rum. So they only saw the cover. You know, but without opening the book and delving into a couple chapters to see, you know, what else was behind me. And you know what? I'm not one of these wafer thin guys. You know, there is a lot more to me. There's a lot, you know, we're all onions. It's just the levels of peeling that some of us get through to others. So I'd like to think there's a few layers to me.
I love them kind of analogies, bruv. We're just all onions, and you just got to peel them. And you know, you start, because we can look at this image here, and we can see just how far back you're going to where you are now. I mean, you're in your 50s, right? I mean, I'm 58, right? But that's mystery on the far left hand, on my left hand side, anyway. And you just go through the gentlemen that are with you.
There's some legends in that picture. There's mystery. There's Dennis Rowe, who everybody should know was the founder member of Saxon Sound. There is Tony Nicks and his brother Slim Tim, RIP's Tony Nicks from Touch of Class back in the day. There's myself, there's DJ Legs from Latest Edition, there's Sweet Vibes from Fifth Avenue, you know, so there's a lot of the mysteries, the Touch of Classes, those guys, Desi G, Barry White, they were the big boys in the arena when we came into it. So those were the guys that we were emulating to be like and wanted to be playing on the same dance as them side by side because, excuse me, that's where we wanted to be. So when somebody threw up that picture, I was like, wow, I had to look at it for like 5 minutes. Right, is that really?
You have to.
Yeah, I had to look. And I'm saying,
to.
no, that's like, it's a big picture. There's some real legends in that picture, let me tell you. You know, people that have entertained people.
They've entertained people and they've influenced a lot of black British people up and down the country, right? And we're talking about not just the music, we're talking about the fashion, we're talking about the language, we're talking about the aspirations, and so when to me, it was like when you stepped out of that and you started doing talk radio, right? And you're moving away from the music, right? It's like all of a sudden people are like, because for us as comics, it was a case of we had to turn the music off in order to be heard.
Right.
And from the time we did that, it's like we had destroyed the dance. So wow, throw a buckle after that boy, them, you know. I stand up and start talk. I must start talk when I'm not talking. Switch off the light when I'm not talking. Yeah.
For real. But it's funny. Sorry to cut you there. It's funny because I kind of mirror what I used to do on Baseline back in the day as far as the talk show, and even now what I do on the spot with the freedom of speech is the same as comedians, because you have some talk show hosts that play music. So when the calls are quiet or they've run out of things to say, they'll play music. I decided from the off that there was going to be no music. So if I didn't have something to say constructively, there was going to be dead air. So that was the instant pressure that I put myself under. So that taught me that I should master my craft and research whatever you're going to talk about, research as much as possible. So to begin with, I stuck to a lot of topics that rang true to me, that was very close to home, that I could speak from the heart about. And there's many occasions. I mean, up to the other day, the shows that I do now on the spot, I done one show the other day, and you know, I was talking for 1 hour and 10 minutes before the first phone call came in. Okay. Once the first call came in, because you know what black people like, everybody's listening, but everybody's afraid to be that first one to call up. And then once the first person, So you got some hosts then that, you know, when they've run out of things to say or they find that they're repeating themselves, they're going to put a music on in the background to then try and, you know, take up airtime. But my thing was, if I'm playing music, it's going to take away from the topic of the day. So my thing was, keep talking, be knowledgeable about the topic, you know, and spread that word to people, because you will eventually encourage them to start calling, to start texting and all of that. And that's what I found. So I've never hidden behind the music, just like as you comedians, I've turned off the music where there could have been some people listening and thinking, all right, Mark, give it a break. Put on a tune for 5 minutes now. There was going to be no music. This is talk. It's a very scary thing to do at first, but you know what? It does what it says on the tin. It's called talk. So if we're talking, we're talking. Because when we're playing music, nobody ain't talking apart from the mic man busting through lyrics. Yeah, it's all about the music.
Yeah, it's just an emotional thing going on. Yeah, just an emotional thing going on. If
we got a talk show going on, go on. Yeah, so
no, I'm just going to answer. Yeah, please keep going, Mark. It's your platform, bro.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that, you know, as I said, I put myself under that pressure because talk show is talk show, music is music. And we have more than enough music platforms. And especially in COVID times, 2020, it's been a source of relief and comfort for a lot of people out there. But I've noticed that since bringing back the freedom of speech, this also has got a place in the times that we're living in now. Black people want to talk, they want to express themselves. And the one thing with us, we got too many taboo subjects in our community that we slide under the carpet, that we brush under the carpet, that we don't talk about. And my thing is this, we're going to talk it. Excellent. And we're going to talk it, and we're going to dissect it, we're going to break it down, and we're going to come out of that breathing, our shoulders feeling a little more lighter, because we've been able to get things off our chest. because every black family up and down the country holds secrets. And these secrets go on for generations and generations. And the only thing it can be doing is damaging. So I'm the type of guy that I'm saying, you know what?
But being first generation, yeah, but like I say, being first generation, we have that responsibility to make that change, that 180-degree change away from the way that we were taught to process information and leave it underneath the carpet. It's okay. Are you still there? Can you hear me now? Have you lost me?
Nope.
Can you hear me at all? You can't hear me at all, Mark? In the chat room,
nope,
if you can hear me, just put a thumbs up. If you can hear Mark, say that I can hear Mark and that it's on my side.
Give me 1 second. Let me come out and come back in again. Sorry, but
okay, not to worry. Not to worry. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Why does this happen?
Give
me 1 second.
That's all right, Mark. I can actually hear you. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, Althea says she can hear me. I need to chop in. That's okay. I mean, if there's one thing that I don't have much control over is the internet and how it works. Are you okay now, Mark? Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you. What is going on?
You still can't hear me, no? No? I think it's clear to everybody why I actually asked Mark
to
come onto the platform. Unfortunately, we can't hear him. But Mark, what I'll do is we'll I mean, I do have another guest waiting to come on. And what we'll do is we'll make a slight and we'll come back. We'll definitely come back with Mark.
Don't understand. I can't hear a word.
Can't hear a word at all. You can't hear a word at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a break. All right. And I'll be back, people. Just give me a second. Okay. And I will be back. Let's see now. God. If only I had a producer. Huh? But this is what happens when you decide that, you know, you're going to do it all yourself, I guess. Then you've just got to deal with what comes up. And the good thing is, in the room, you could see Mark was definitely somebody worth me getting hold of. Yeah. So not to worry. Because what I'm going to do...
How well does a community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in the Asian community for 28 days, in Jewish communities for 20 days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the black community, 6 hours. This is what we at the Black Wall Street UK desperately want to change. We've developed a unique mobile app called the Black Wall Street UK. This is a business directory for black-owned businesses all across the UK. With the Black Wall Street UK app, you can find any black-owned businesses around you with a tap of a finger. So next time you're searching for a nearby hair product store or a nail shop or an estate agent or any black-owned business or service provider, just do a super quick search on the Black Wall Street UK. Our app allows you to search by business type and location. You can save your favourite businesses, add your own black-owned business, read reviews from other clients and much more. The Black Wall Street UK, the entire UK black community at your fingertips. Free app now available on Apple and Play Store. www.thebblackwallstreetuk.com.
Yes, Trevor, thanks for the support, mate. Ransom bands not easy at all. But it no matter, man. It no matter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come back with Marky Mark a little later on. All right. Obviously, it's just internet problems at the moment. Yeah, it's just internet problems. It's him and his Ray and nephew. That's what it is. You know, I think he poured the Ray and nephew into the phone, and the phone get drunk. But anyway, let's keep it moving, yeah, because this is a great show. I'm really enjoying this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce our next guest. What's funny now? He's gone straight in there with the brandy. Look at you, Uncle Remus.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Tell me you can hear me. Right.
We can hear you fine.
So
we can hear you.
Listening to you and Marky and Mark. Yeah. This is the third glass I've had, so we could get a nice show tonight. Right. Let's get this out of the way first of all.
Yeah.
I never thought you'd invite me onto your platform. I know you've hated me, but well, let me finish.
You know I've hated you. You know I've hated you, bro.
Well, we're gonna do it now. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go
right in there. You know I hated you.
I posted it on my page, and Donna went straight in. Can we see a repeat of the 291 performance? Right?
Shut up, man.
That's what she put in there. So I'm gonna. God bless. Cavoisier talk nice, right? So. Years ago, I was in a troupe called a Posse. There were 8 acts. We had shows on the telly. We did Armed and Dangerous. We did Pinchy Kobe and the Seven Duppies. Really, if we'd stayed together, I don't know what we would have been doing now. But we weren't at that stage of our evolution as people. There's a show called the 291, which was predicated on, them liking you before you'd spoken quite often.
You didn't even like your shoes.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing was predicated on, and I was asked to come and I think I was one of the captains of the judges, and they asked me, and they said they introduced you as the guy who looks like Eddie Murphy lookalike. But what everybody in that place, but you, heard was this guy is as funny as Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Do you understand it? So you look like him. Them time there, we're going late 80s, early 90s, right? 89, 90. You remember the year. You probably be able to tell me the time and date. And,
91.
See? And
Never forgotten it, Eddie. Never forgotten it. They destroyed me for 6 years. Go on, Eddie.
So when the booing happened, and then they came and they asked me
out. Don't forget the placards came out. Off. Let's not forget that.
You taught me a lot that day, because when we went back, we had a big argument, and that was the breakup of the Posse. Not about you, but about the way, you see, you won't know this, about the way they introduced me onto the stage that night. They introduced me as the leader of the Posse. And because I didn't stop them and say anything, I was feeding it. And we had a meeting for about 8 hours, and that was the beginning of the end. And I think that year or the next year, I left the Posse. I was the person to leave the Posse. But let's get back to your point of view. And so when that happens, and even today, if I'm hosting a show and somebody has a bad night, then I hope that they understand that it is my job to keep the show moving. But, when I think about it, I've heard you talk about it a lot. And when I think about it, I think if that happened to you today, I would hammer you. If you died on stage today, I would hammer you.
As Rudi Lickwood today, that would make sense.
I'm going to tell you the story, bro. Yeah. As Rudi Lickwood today, you've had enough good nights that you're going to have a couple of rough ones. Yeah. But as you coming on, you know how many times they've asked me to come back on that show? So then, and in its reincarnation. And I won't go back on it because I remember that night very well. And I remember you talking about that night. And that's not the guy I want to be. So even though it was hilarious, it went on telly, it was like the Apollo and everything like that, I don't know whether emotionally you knew what you were letting yourself in for. and therefore I don't really want that. Could have gone any kind of way with you.
So well, it took me to depression. If that's what if that's where we're going, because that's exactly what it did. Because when you consider that I was coming from a background of being a very successful individual, right, who was running his own business, who tried to set up a black bank, who tried to provide school meals for my entire borough, and then all of a sudden I've got the black community telling me that I'm not good at something, right? That is what really drove me to prove a point. And
you've proved it. I mean, that's the real reason I've come on the show. Apart from to test Marky Mark, the real reason I've come on the show is
Marky. I hope you heard that. Why are you killing Mark side here?
Is to recognize you for your achievement over the last 30 years. Because it's not easy being in this game, and you've done it, you've been successful, you're doing your thing, you're providing a platform for people during the lockdown. And I think you have to take, I mean, I don't know you like that, but my thing would be, what doesn't break you makes you. And for you to come back from that, it's a bit like Richard Blackwood. For Richard to come back from where he came back from, he has to be a particular type of human being. Because he was a millionaire at 27. He bust on the Real McCoy, and we put him on. And then all of a sudden, I can't give you my number, Eddie. You mean you can't give me a number? What kind of foolish? He went to a whole different level. And then when he came crashing down, it was either, like you, it's either he took it somewhere else. But, you got my respect, my brother.
Oh, thank you, bro. No, Ed,
it's only this year you started actually talking to me.
No, Ed, you've always, I'll be honest with you, you've always had my respect. You've always had my respect. I'll be honest with you. Because whenever we always hear that thing of black man on TV, black man on TV, I mean, you go way back. You go way back when, as one of the earlier faces that we saw. When we talk about the black comedy circuit being developed around the country, that was based on the posse, as you said, as well as the BB crew. Do you know what I mean? And then you started fronting most of the bigger shows that started to happen. Now we can't hear you. Let me see. Have you? No. Now we can't hear you. See, with all that fucking money this man's got, right? And he can't even get his shit together. What the boy, rude boy?
Don't be ridiculous. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not Marky Mark.
Mark, don't take the prisoners when you come here, say, But no, I ain't take no prisoners. Look at him.
See, I start.
Look at him. Look at him. What's the I spy?
That was when I was.
What's the I spy then, isn't it?
Casualty. No, I was a second black guy in Casualty. That was it. Donna's in her foolishness again. 1987. I joined the cast of Casualty. I was after George. I was the second black guy. Thank you. The boss lady just come to tell me she can hear me now. 1987, I joined Casualty. I was in it for 3 series, staff nurse Cyril James, 37 episodes of carrying the kidney bowl in the back of other people's shop.
Rah. So where was you at this time? Where was you at this stage? Where were you?
This is a sad picture, It's a really sad picture. I wasn't going to send it to you. It was a really... That picture, if you want to keep it real, I've got a brother. My brother is Robert. My brother died this year, right? And that picture there is a picture that we took to edit out Robert to put in Robbie because we were doing a theatre piece. But I never. He told me when he was sick that it felt like I was cutting him. I never thought of it like that. I just thought, we're making foolishness. And then it came like that, and this has been an interesting year, if you want to know the truth. It's been a very interesting year.
Yeah.
But that picture there, dress up in my clothes, looking fantastic. I can see.
No, you look sharp.
How I came to be The sexy
No,
man.
no,
I
no,
am.
no. Come on, let's give credit where it's due. Give it where it's due, bro.
That's
where it's
mummy.
due.
That's
Right.
mummy. Mummy's birthday yesterday. She's a Sagittarius. It was her birthday yesterday, and God bless her. The food tasted nicer because mum cooks, and that's her job on a Sunday to cook my food.
But you always tease us about how you're gonna put her in a home and all them kind of things. Why you talk so bad about it, man?
Because she doesn't behave herself. My mum,
Okay.
I've had to come upstairs because my mum will hear me speaking to you. Right? Edward, you're making too much, and she starts shouting like I'm speaking to the BBC. You know, I'm controlling a group of people. There's a whole meeting of people over Zoom, and my mum will talk to me like I'm 12.
Okay.
In my house.
Yeah. You always threatening about you're gonna put her in a home and all that.
Yeah.
When I listen to you, I'm like, so have you always been that cheeky kind of a guy? Is that that's the real you, the natural you? Because I mean, when you first started on radio, it's like you weren't taking no foolishness at first. You know what I mean? And you go, "Oh, you're a first-time caller. So I'll give you a little squeeze," kind of like thing. Yeah. Is that the natural you?
So it was really interesting. Because I didn't know about Marky until I heard him with Tyrone on the spot. And I thought, who's this brother here? You know what I mean? He's making sense. And so I started listening. I saw the numbers, and I think it's one of the few that's actually properly taking calls. Or most of them, like me, I'm taking the messages. Yeah, and they were taking calls.
Yeah, but let's give Kwaku a big up as well. Give Kwaku a big up on that as well.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything about Kwaku. I try to limit my access to South London people.
Okay. Okay. I can understand that. But you're just as ignorant, Eddie.
I'm not. I used to be more ignorant, Rudy. I don't even know. Yeah, sickness does that to you, man. Sickness changed me. Sickness saved me, man. Yeah. Even before that, so that's when I had a challenge. So really interesting. Again, like Marky, when I was sick, I made a promise that if I could survive the cancer, I would try to do something every year for charity. So this was down the line. I'd already run the marathon or whatever. Yeah, that's where I started. The beach, Moby, the beach whale.
Yeah,
I was pregnant with my first child then. And
I'm trying to get this comment out of the way so they can actually appreciate, the work.
I tell you what, I'm nearer that than the other one now. And I when I first went to the Caribbean, I saw lots of people with one foot. I thought, what's that? What's that? And it took me a while to understand that it's diabetes.
Diabetes, yeah.
And diabetes makes people go blind. Diabetes, you lose a limb. And lots of people take diabetes like it's a joke. It's not a joke. So in order to help, I thought, well, let me see. And that's what we did, the 6-pack for Diabetes UK. But it's a big problem, particularly with Africans and Asians, because our seasoning is just too much. And do you ever drink Nutriment and them thing there?
I used to. I don't drink it anymore.
Even when you make your Guinness punch, you know how much things.
I don't make Guinness punch. I don't like Guinness punch. I don't like Guinness. I hate it.
You don't like Guinness?
No, I don't like Guinness.
You don't drink Nigerian
Guinness is food, man. I got a friend of mine, Paul Wall. She drinks Guinness all the time. I can't drink that stuff.
Yeah, I like Guinness.
Can't handle it.
I like Guinness.
But what I've noticed about you, Eddie, is that you take on a lot of things, and you do give yourself 110%. And I'm referring to the charity work that you do, the unsung work that you do. But it got to the point where you had to cut back, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, basically, I was working out around my family, particularly those two kids. So my kids are very young. So Marky's children are getting married. Mine are just going to secondary school. One of them, 11 and 6. So my journey is completely different. I did my business late. So
Right.
yeah, I have to work out what I do around my kids. That's it.
Okay.
Because if I didn't, I'd be on the phone all the time. So yeah, I had to focus really, not cut back. I suppose focus, do better work. Sometimes doing a lot isn't doing
anything.
as much,
Yeah, you end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because even when you went up Kilimanjaro, you didn't just go. Once again, it was for a charity, wasn't it?
So I've always wanted to climb at Kilimanjaro. It's on my bucket list, and I wanted to get through my bucket list. My wife, boss lady, came, Dave came, and Sarah came. Robbie was supposed to come, but he's a pum pum, so he didn't come. And when we climb it, they call it the Crying Mountain. And I've got to tell you, every single human being who climbs that mountain cries. It's not easy. The last night, we had about 4 hours sleep, and then we started at midnight. And then by the time we got up and came back down, we got up about 10:10. But by the time we came back down, it was 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Just absolutely physically and emotionally shattered. So I mean, I'm glad I'm glad we did it. And
right.
You know, give Robbie his due. He was 100% in it. We were going every comedy show everywhere.
I remember.
Buckets. Oh, we were out. We raised.
I thought you were beggy, man. I was like, listen, man, you lot are getting more money than I'm getting paid.
Well, I wasn't getting any of the money. I still had to pay to go up the mountain. £40,000 we raised for charity. 40
Okay,
grand.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Not to me, no, congratulations to me.
You should have given me some of that. I could have paid off my mortgage to Rowe.
Yes. But yeah. And it's good to know when you do good things for other people, it makes you feel better about yourself. You've got to try it, Rudi.
No, I hear you. I've heard you. And I can't say no to that. But what I want people to really understand is that you didn't just get here, Eddie. I remember back in the day, in Brixton, and you had a karaoke machine that you used to take up the stairs. I can't remember the name of the bloody club. It had big horses outside. What was the name of that place? Had big white horses outside. Streatham side, bruv.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Streatham side, bruv.
Oh, somebody will know. Some South London people will know it.
Yeah, they were South London people will know it. Caesar Palace.
Caesar.
Was it Caesar Palace?
Yeah, we said it was Diamonds. So what happened is the big club was downstairs, and they let Crystal Rose have the top of it, and it was called Diamonds. It was popular for a while. That was a good club. So she wanted to have karaoke, and me and Rob went and bought karaoke. That's what we've always done, you know. Wherever we can make it work, we try and make it work.
And I think it was that night that I had the utmost respect for you, to be honest with you, because you know most men would have said they're too big to do that. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you reach a level and you're like, boy, I know certain comics who reached the point they wouldn't even give out their own leaflets. You understand? Right? Because they were too big to be seen to be doing that kind of like thing. Right? Whereas you always kind of stayed close to the street.
I don't know that is a good thing. I've got a book. I think it's downstairs. But I've got this book called Power. And in the book, it says you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. You have to portray an image of being in control, and then you get more respect from people. But Robbie and I never saw it like that. We wanted to be in it, doing it, and feeling it. The thing I say more than anything else at the BBC is I have to walk down the street. So they actually know what that means now.
Okay. Because that was it, is that to me, you just showed that you can work on so many different levels. You know, I mean, you got into the Beebs. Yeah. You know, eventually finding your way there.
So couple of interesting pictures there. Yeah, we just had the anniversary. Damilola Taylor, that's his father, Richard. And you know, much of me interviewing Leroy Logan recently, the Red, White and Blue, he was instrumental in helping to find the people that killed that little boy on his way to the library, not not too long into the country, and it was the 20th anniversary of his killing recently. So that I thought that was that, you know, those pictures are ones that you remember because that man's seen some pain. This is Bernard Ogenhow, Lord Bernard Ogenhow now. And he invited me. And funny enough, I've been invited again by the new commissioner, which is a bit weird. And so that's in Hendon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in Hendon, you go to see the police officers passing out. So once they've gone through their training. Now, I was not really very interested because my interaction with the police, my first interaction with the police was not great, which is what's always been a problem for me. Because even though I've interviewed the last 5 commissioners, I've never really got on with them because I think your first interaction with them is really, really important. And mine wasn't good. But I went and I was really, you know, they got parents crying for them and and they take the oath. And I don't know how some of them turn out, but I know they start off in a good place. But, you know, it was a real honor for me to be invited. I think it was important for me to accept the invitation. And I think it was Prince William who had done it the time before me. So that was an interesting moment, I think, really. And I mean, I think partly I am black. I am on a London radio station. So I think symbolically it was important.
Because you're representing, you know, you're carrying the weight of the black community on your shoulders because you deal with issues at its highest level and you talk to people at their highest level too. You know, is that when you develop the speaky-spokey voice?
I haven't got any speaky-spokey voice.
You do have a speaky-spokey voice.
I don't have.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Can I just tell you? Let me drink my
I've heard you, bruv. I've seen you in the club, and then I listen to you on the radio when I'm sitting in the car. I'm saying, bollocks, this man I put on, sure no. It's the actor coming out in him now. I'm hearing the actor, or am I actually seeing Eddie? Or am I hearing Eddie?
I did. Let me tell you what happened. Why I know that you're not. So I've been on BBC Radio London. I joined BBC Radio London in October 2002. And for the 2 years preceding that, I was on a station called Choice FM, which doesn't exist anymore. It's called Capital, Capital X.
Yeah. Choice is no choice.
Right. So Mystery turned down the overnight slot because these are big DJs, maybe one of the biggest street DJs we've ever had.
And definitely.
Paul didn't want to do it because that was 3 to 7. I said, me, I'm broke. Them time there, Mrs. Nestor was working in Sandwell and she was giving me pocket money. And as a man, that'll make you feel good. Anyway, so we went there, £10 an hour we got paid on Choice FM. So that's £200 a month. But they said you can play the playlist from 3. You do what you want because no one's listening anyway. So that's a bit of a disrespect to say that to somebody when you're employing them. So we talked. We literally just talked. And then you get people. And at Choice, you didn't have any receptionist, anybody to open the door, make tea. I was the only somebody in this building through the night. So, you know, I did it. And then you get people ringing up. And that's when BBC Radio London came and said it. But just to tell you the story now, I used to work with Danny Baker. So Danny Baker is probably the best broadcaster I have ever known. He's a master. If you know about my kind of broadcasting, then he's a master. And not talk radio, just doing foolishness. So, I mean, he's fallen out of favor a bit, but we'll get to that later. So his best friend, the person he mentored, is a guy called Chris Evans. So,
he mentioned Chris Evans.
He Chris Evans' whole style is Danny Baker. Like he made a lot more money out of it than Danny because he did Don't Forget Your Toothbrush, Virgin, give him 100 million, whatever. So you know he's different. Anyway, Chris Evans came to BBC Radio London. And as legend has it, Chris Evans says to Danny Baker, "Is that Eddie Nestor?" Danny Baker says yes. And then Chris Evans says, I thought he was white. And from that day, there is nobody who can ever listen to me on the radio and not know I'm a black man. It's impossible. So that's how I know that you're talking rubbish. There you go. See, I've told you you're talking rubbish, and I've
no, I'm not talk rubbish. Denise has got a question for you.
Ooh, I don't trust her.
The question is, Eddie, do you find it hard sometimes working at the BBC, wanting to really air your opinions, but BBC rules don't permit you to do so? You knew this question was coming.
Yeah, that question is an interesting one. Listen, I don't think there's anybody else like me. I think they know it. I think that we had a difficult time in August where the BBC felt it appropriate to use the N-word, and I challenged it. And I can tell you that, speaking truth to power whilst in the belly of the beast is not an easy thing.
I hear, and that's why we had the utmost respect for you, especially on my platform anyway. Especially on my platform.
So
there was so much support and so much love for you because we knew what you had to traverse at that point in time. And that's where the people like Marky Mark comes in and myself comes in. As the other side that needs to be aired, because we do have to. I put everybody in the comments room in the same position. Like I say to them, when they go to work, the moment that they step through that building, the culture comes off, and as Curtis Walker would say, it stays in the car.
Not anymore.
Yeah, times have changed. This year has made a big change.
This year has
made a big change.
They put me on Newsnight this week. I've had more work from the BBC. I'm on Channel 5 in a minute, 10:30. Yeah, I've had more work this year than I've ever had.
The guilt trip is working, bruv.
Well, I don't know, but actually, anybody, think of the people in your life that you respect, really. Let's do it this way.
Yeah.
So me personally, when I grew up, I was looking at Muhammad Ali. If you look at Rosa Parks, if you look at Colin Kaepernick, if you look at Tommy Smith in 1968, anybody who has ever stood up to power has never ceded, it is taken. So anybody who's ever stood up to any person in position of authority has had to pay a price. But ultimately, history shows them. You think the world will be thinking more of Colin Kaepernick in 50 years or Donald Trump? Which one do you think they're thinking more of? You see, you're cleaning your nose as they put you on. See that? Hey, pick the time then, Mikey. Yeah, right. There you go.
Let me turn on my mic. Sorry. Yeah, man. You just threw me in like that and didn't even give me no warning.
Because you can't angle it. I saw you listening, and
I've been listening very keenly.
I want us to take advantage of all this time.
Great to be on you, Marky. I've watched you and listened to you on the spot. I'm a big admirer of what you do and the voice that you allow people to put on there. So well done to you, my brother.
Respect to you, my brother, and as I've said to Rudi before, you guys were the inspiration. You guys were like, black people on television when there was nobody else. And, that's what gave us there's more to life. We can aspirate to do bigger things. So, you guys from the Real McCoy and going forward and backwards, love you all and nothing but respect. That's all I can say. Nothing but respect.
I've got nothing but respect for the both of you, the admiration for the both of you, that you traverse both entertainment and edutainment, as Leo Chester would coin, all in the same at the same time.
Yep.
And it's just been amazing for me because I just stuck to the stand up. That was me. You know what I did, Eddie.
Yeah, but you don't do that.
I hit the glass ceiling. I hit the glass ceiling at the BBC at a very early time, and there was nobody around. There was no support. There was nothing, because when they disbanded the black section in the BBC, the Real McCoy bunch were gone. There was nobody there, and me with my mouth, I couldn't survive it. Because when I talk about the speaky, spokey voice, I'm also talking about the intellect that has to go with it. You know,
there are a lot of, you know, Marky's clever, you're clever. The thing about clever is that, listen, my mum makes me fill in every single piece of paper that she has to fill in, every government form. Yet I don't know anybody more intelligent than my mother, you know, because she's got this thing called common sense. And clearly the situation we're in with this virus, if common sense had been applied on any level, we might not be in the situation we're in. So be careful of this word clever. You don't have to speak with a plum in your mouth to be clever.
I noticed that you're speaking with one now.
No, I'm not.
Because I know you brought your tone down to your fight.
No, but we've always spoke. Mark, you talk to this you here because he's just trying to provoke me, and he's going to make me.
You know what?
Always, you speak one way to your brethren, you speak one way to your mother when you're in the house, and you speak one way when you go to work. Talk to that you differently.
Very, very true. You know, even I do it myself. As I said, you know, when I'm invited onto, how can I put it? I don't know. When I've been invited to the slave master's table, then you know, as much as I say that I keep it real, you do automatically change a little bit. You know, I try not to dilute myself. You know, I don't want to be. I'm syrup, and you're not going to turn me into milkshake. So
that's what I love
when
things like that. I love it.
You're not going to dilute me that way. But I do understand there is a little bit of us that, you know, the company you're in, whatever, you're going to change to kind of adapt to be.
Well, you're a communicator, Mark. You're a communicator.
Yep.
What's the point in going on and speaking in a way that nobody can understand?
Exactly. It doesn't make no sense.
It makes no sense.
No sense. So by that, in trying to keep it real, you're actually just looking stupid because the people you're trying to keep it real to aren't listening to you, and it's other people, and they just think, well, who's this dumbass black man? And that's what we're not trying to promote. I mean, for me, I admire Eddie in the sense that, you know, you're going to have restrictions being on the BBC. Me on my thing, I don't want to go any further. Because I love what I do, I can express myself in my sense. I can bun fire on whoever. You've mentioned people in your conversation that I've bun big fire on. You understand? They've pissed me off over something that's held dear to me, or I just think you're out of order, and I don't care who you are, you know. And I'm not doing it for a claim. I'm doing it because you deserve fire. You know,
so here's the point, Mark. This is the conversation I've always wanted to have with you. See, one of the things I think that we do is we limit ourselves. We present ourselves as a homogenous lump. Not all black people feel the same. Not all black people do the same. Not all
definitely
have the same life experience. And quite often, if I were putting a show together, I would never put 2 people, 3 people on a show normally who had the same opinion. I would put different opinions. And let them discuss. If you look at it, but what we have is this. I call it an oppressive consciousness, which means that unless you think X, then you aren't really black. And we have to open up because with the blended families, with the amount of time, with the assimilation, with the progression, with the whatever it might be, there are all sorts of different black people that I've met in my life.
Definitely. And the one thing is that we are all still black. Hello, we there?
No, we're here. We're here.
Oh, both of your faces went so still. I thought
no. I'm listening to exactly what you said.
So
I'll just drink so you know I'm still moving.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, so we are still all black, and what Eddie is saying is true. We need to get past this point where, you know, we have to act and be a certain way. We all have to be ghetto, and we got to talk and act and flex and express a certain way to be accepted. Now, there's great black people out there doing great things, and they don't talk with a lingua, they don't talk with a patois, they ain't going to tell you about your Clark, they're not going to do this and that, but they're just as much for us as the ones who express themselves that way. So we have come to a times where even the black people, I won't even put it down to the man, we are evolving in so many different ways and directions, and we have to learn to accept it all because it's all us. You know, we're too quick to label people Coconut, Bounty, Sellout, Uncle Tom, all of them. Some people deserve that label, but there's lots of others who get it undeservingly. And in the work that I do with social care, I came across a new social worker the other day. He's a black guy. And when I first met him, it was a placement meeting with placing one of his young people with my organization. And he was talking what you're talking about, Rudy, real speaky, spokey. And I walked away from that meeting and I said, I'm going to have trouble with this brother here because his brother don't believe so he's black. You understand? He's talking too posh on his brother. So I know me and him are going to buck heads. Today, just today, me and this brother's running joke over the phone and I can get down with him. But like I was saying earlier, we're too quick to judge the book by the cover. So because he comes across... Yes, that's right. So because he came across speaky spokey, I just labeled him. And I hate labeling and putting people into boxes where they don't deserve to be. And, you know, I can hold my hands up. And I labeled him and said, yeah, he's one of those kind of people. But once I'd opened the book and, you know, and delved into a chapter of him, he's as cool as everybody else out there. Just because he speaks different doesn't make him different. The speaking probably comes from education, the circles he's been in, but he's as black as me and me black. Yeah, and he's black, and that's what I love. So, you know, we got to get away from that.
I think we are moving away from that. I mean, I think that
it's too slow, though. It's too slow.
One of the biggest struggles that I had, I think, when it was on the comedy circuit, was that I weren't speaking in that ghetto language. My parents are Guyanese, therefore it wasn't the done thing to do. I mean, I speak Black British street, yeah, but I don't speak Jamaican, for example. You get me? And I don't have that kind of dialect, or I don't have those turn of words that make reference to being Jamaican. And I think our audiences picked up on that very quickly, to be honest with you.
Of course.
Which was never going to be a plus for me. Yeah. But I mean, one of the challenges that I'd like to just touch on briefly, was when you received your MBE, and how did that make you think, considering you know what the British Empire is about, Eddie?
Yeah, listen, I made a program about it. I made a documentary about it because I thought to myself one day it might come. I thought, how would I deal with it? Because lots of my contemporaries, whether they be .NET Bio, I don't know, Norman J, Trevor Nelson, lots of my contemporaries already had the MBE. And I thought, well, what are you going to do? And I've been through various stages in my life. Parenthood is one that impacted it more than anything else. And and I went and I saw Benjamin. And Benjamin, on the documentary, cussed me. Benjamin Zephaniah, sorry.
Yes,
Benjamin, I don't know if you know the history. Benjamin turned it down. How could you get from people that treated your people like that? He went in the way that you would expect him to, and in the way that you did. And he said, you know what you're going to say? He said, you're going to say, I'm doing it for my kids. That's what you're going to say. He said, that's what everybody said. And that is what I said. So, you know, it was a moment. It was a moment, and I took it. And I went there with my wife and my 2 children. And my mum is still telling everybody in Dominica. And I am able to go through more doors. I'm able to help more people. I'm able to access more people. And if I have to take one for the team in order to do that, I wish it was called something else. I think there are moves now, and I mean, I'm part of campaigns to remove the word empire from it. And maybe that will come one day, and then, you know, but I understand that some people think I'm a sellout for taking it. I understand that and accept it, but I've never been there for everybody to like. No, you know, sometimes I don't even like myself.
I like that. No, you do. You look in the mirror sometimes. You have to think, "Black style, I need that." But what did you say? Sometimes you got to. It's like when you say you've got to be wicked to be kind. You've got to take salt to take sweet. You got to take. You know, there's always 2 sides to a coin, and there's always a reason why a man makes the decisions that he makes.
I more respect a man who turned it down, who told me, "Why did you take it?" than the people them that are telling me, why did you take it? Who've never been offered it, who've never done anything for their community, who've never helped anybody. I'm not minded with these people there. I ain't taking it up. They don't drive my life because I'm doing more than them. If you're doing more than me, then talk to me. But you're not doing more than me.
Shut up.
Respect. Nothing but respect. Because for me, I'm on the side of Benjamin Zephaniah, and I'm like, if the Queen want to give me that, bun that, you lizard. I don't want that. You keep that. I'm not having it. But for a man that takes it, it is not my place to turn around and tell him, you shouldn't take that. I've made my decision, and every man makes their own individual decision. And
you made a decision based on the fact that you've never been offered it. So what I'm saying is, people can sit there. I've watched this in my life, and I'm old. And I've watched in my life people swear blind to me that X and Y and Z until the day.
That's right.
Until the day. So, you know, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not telling you nothing. But if you said to me they offered it to me 2017 and I turned it down, then I will more listen. Because I don't know.
Yes, because who feels it knows it. It's, you know, it's like the current vaccine situation. Everybody is saying, we now take the vaccine, bond the vaccine. But when they tell you, say, you won't be able to jump on a plane again and go and see your people in whatever country, you know, I talked about it on my show. What are you going to do then? We're all full of sound bites. We all talk the popular talk to be with the populist crowd. Bund the populist crowd, because they're not with you in times of hardship, in times of any ship. Yeah. So every individual has to do what they do and know why they do it.
That's right.
So, you know, and as I said, everybody's saying about the vaccine now, but when your back is against the wall and you need to leave this place, and the only way you can leave this place is the vaccine, most people is going to take it. And they're going to take it. And you got some of these people, they will take it and they still won't admit to taking it. They're going to tell you that they find some way, some loophole to get through, to get on that plane, to get out of here. And boy, we never take the vaccine because they want to stay popular within that circle. Rubbish. Nothing
isn't that the human nature thing to do? To find yourself in a clique or a group, to have that sense of belonging.
Human nature is evolving. And if you are finding people that want to find a clique, to have that sense of belonging, how dare they then want to berate our young people for joining gangs? Because a lot of young people are joining gangs for that same sense of belonging. So if they're doing it and you're doing it, but you're the hypocrite, because you've joined a different gang for a sense of belonging, and these youths have gone and joined a street gang, and now you want to bun them out because you're saying that you want to stay within the popular opinion again, and you shouldn't be joining gangs and you should find your own way out of it. Well, look at yourself in the mirror, because you're doing the same thing. There's too much hypocrites in life. They're talking, but they're not walking. And for me, I think that's where I come in, because I'm just like, I've got to that stage in my life where my tolerance don't pass my big toe. I don't have no tolerance for nothing. Yeah, I haven't got tolerance for nothing.
He's gone into his zone, bruv. He's gone into his zone. He's gone.
So my thing is this: everybody stand in your own conviction. I'll respect you more. Like what Eddie is saying, he'll listen to a man and respect a man that's been offered the MBE and turned it down. Yeah. But anybody just talking for the sense of talking, well, bun fire on you, because all you're doing is talking. You ain't doing shit. You know, every man must know why he makes any decision that he makes in life. And for me, from when you can back up your decision, you got my respect. If I don't agree with it, we can agree to disagree. And this is something that don't happen in the black community. We can't do it. We have to cuss each other out. We have to fight each other. We have to slander, passa, all the rest of it. No, we got opinion. You've got an opinion. I'm not going to change your mind. You ain't going to change mine. So let's just draw a line and move on. We got other things that we can tackle together. We can't agree on everything 100%. But there is too many puppets out there. And that's what I hate. These puppets that are out there, they don't even know what they're talking, because they're not talking. They're like them Thunderbird characters from back in the day. You know, the ones that you could see the string holding them up and all of that. Yeah. That's what they're on. And I'm not on that. You know, my thing is just be real. Just be yourself. 2020 has shown you. Be yourself. Talk from within. Don't talk from outside. Talk from inside. Talk your belief. But too many people are too afraid to stand away from the populist crowd. They don't want to stand in a minority of 1. They want to stand in a majority of 10. Bullshit. Because it gets you nowhere. Because that majority of 10 is going to move on to something else, and you're going to be that sheeple running around following them. Me, I ain't got time for that.
And I guess that's why you managed to hold people's attention the way that you do, is that you stand in your conviction, which the both of you do. The both of you
on different levels we do, because
you both do. And there was this clip that I saw. I think it was last week, and it just made me open my mouth. And I just was wondering what you both thought of this
stuff that I gave you. I gave you what you wanted. You don't give me what I wanted.
But it's stuff to eat, and you're gonna stab me over some pizza? Are you serious? You're gonna kill me over some pizza?
Yes.
Like, are you dead ass right now? You're gonna kill me over some pizza?
I gave you pizza. It's not fair. I gave you pizza, but you not give me pizza? That's just deep, bro. That's deep.
Alright, bro, but it's alright. I don't want to share that pizza. There's other stuff to eat in here. You really gonna kill me over some pizza, my nigga? You gonna pull out a knife on me over some fucking pizza?
Yes. I gave you pizza.
Alright. That's because your fucking dad bought that for you because there was nothing to eat in here. It's stuff to eat in here. That's my fucking pizza.
You wanna die?
Do you wanna die? Go put the fucking knife down if I slap the shit out of you. Go put it the fuck down! Go put it down! Stupid fat bitch!
Why can't you share? I'm sharing with you.
Wow.
I know, that was quite deep.
Wow.
That was quite deep.
Wow.
When I saw that, I was like, how does a kid get to that point, to that stage? And that's just over food. It's like, where will he be later on in life? You know?
That same that same boy there will be eating chicken and chips of his brethren one day and killing him the next day when his brethren doesn't give him one of his wings.
I mean, what are your thoughts, Eddie?
You know my thoughts.
I know your thoughts.
Well,
I know. Yep.
I have 2 kids, 11 and 7. So I'm probably the person in that lane there. Yeah. And what happens is that somebody filmed that video and felt it appropriate to post that video. And that parent is as guilty of abuse and child cruelty as anybody who slaps up their child or sets fire to them or whatever. And I see it too often. And this is one of the taboos that when I get into it, I will get into the abuse of our children, the abuse of our abuse of family. Because for you to film that means you have full control of the situation. You know the kid is not understanding. For you to film that and post that means you feel it's a funny situation to send. The language that he calls him fat, he swears at his child. Now, one of the problems that we have, or I have, I'm not judging anybody, right? I'm just telling you. So before I came on here today, because our Prime Minister decided to bring in that thing and bad man don't really do his Christmas shopping till Christmas Eve, I'm on Amazon, like, you know, I'm making that man even richer. And I'm on there looking, I see loads of t-shirts for Fortnite. So what happens is they had this thing at the minute that broke the internet called PlayStation 5. So PlayStation 5 is about 500 quid, and each game's about 60 quid. And I hear people talking about it. My child, I asked him for his Christmas list, not even putting anything like that. I truly believe that those games, Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite, all of those, that
object of the whole game, any single game that I've ever seen, the object is to kill until you are killed. So whatever game it is, it's a game of survival. However you decorate it, it's about killing, moving. And I think when you do it, and they're like movies now, guys, right? When you do it like that, the child doesn't understand. The child feels like they're living in a cartoon. That child loves that person that's videoing him. That child respects it. He doesn't understand what death is. He doesn't understand that if he stabs him and he ends his life, he will never see them again. And that's what I see playing out on the streets of London. I see it playing out day in, day out, which is why I don't raise money for diabetes anymore. I don't raise money for anything else but black kids. Because right now I'm seeing a disaster, an absolute disaster. How many kids by how many different women in how many different situations, you're not growing with them, the street is bringing them up, there's a sense of belonging. It drives me mad. I see it, and it's bad because those kids will then have kids. It compounds the situation. That's a sad video you just posted, Rudy.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible on every single level. That child there, the one he called fat, is being abused. And in 15 years' time, that child is a statistic. That child doesn't go to college. That child isn't a valuable member of our society. And that's why when those right-wing contributors come on my show, the one thing they say that sticks in my head, the black guys, is that we have taught ourselves to be victims. We've taught ourselves to blame every single problem we have on white people, and means that we don't take any personal responsibility.
No ownership.
Whatever happens to them youth in this house, listen to me today. I've got 2 youths. Whatever happens, good or bad, I, Eddie Nestor, take responsibility. Okay. I will give up work. I will sell my house. I will do what I need to do. But there's so many brethren that I know they don't live for whatever reason. As I say, I can only talk about mine. But I'm just saying that is a sad video, really.
It is. But you see, what I've deliberately done? I've deliberately pitched myself at over 35s because I don't want to talk to the children. Not because I can't. Not because I can't. Not because I can't. Sorry? When I say children, wait, someone's volume's not right. Say that again, Eddie, please.
Who's going to talk to them then, Rudy?
Oh, who's going to talk to them? Their elders should be talking to them. Okay. The elders who are around them should be talking to them. Okay. And I hold our age group responsible for what is going on. I hold us responsible for the way that things are turning out. Because our parents they came here for a job. They didn't come here for a career. They didn't come here to establish business. But we being born here now have the burden of that responsibility. So for every child that you see in those situations, I hold us responsible. And that's why I talk to us the way that I do.
I agree with you with that statement there. I also agree 100% wholly with what Eddie had to say about taking responsibility and ownership. Because we as first generation that was born here, we were the first ones that started to advocate for militancy. We were the ones that were fighting back and pushing back. We understood that we said we're not going to take the shit that our parents had to endure when they came over here. But with saying that, we then diluted ourselves by then saying, come on the camera, we're not going to grow our children the way our parents grew us. And that's the first mistake that we made. We took on the responsibility of saying, we're not going to take the shit that our mums and dads talk and bowing down to the indigenous population of this country. We're going to show them that we are somebody and we come from somewhere. That's on one hand. But then on the other hand, we're not instilling that in our children. We're turning around and want to take our children for a puppy show, and we're saying, we're not going to sit down and pass on the teachings that our parents gave us, that gave us the empowerment to do and say what we did and to demonstrate the way how we did. And that's where we kind of got it twisted. It's that westernized flavor came in. Westernization is like salt. Too much of it is not good. And we need to go back to where we come from, all right, and bring that flavor back
I don't know
into
that I
the
agree,
community.
you know, Marky. If I'm honest with you, I don't know if I agree. When I read and I do my research, and it might be different to yours, what I see as a complete and definite legacy of slavery, that black women didn't need a black guy, and my woman might have to sleep with the master today, but she have to come back to me. So there was a whole disconnect, and the legacy of generation upon generation of that is in the 90s when we used to go to parties, Rudy, and I never used to feel comfortable. Which woman in here don't need no man? They got their own door key.
Oh, I remember them things there. Yeah.
Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing? So you don't need a man, right? You ain't got one. So what now? And I think that our whole psyche has not been about upliftment, about positivity, about telling each other that we are kings and we are queens. And when somebody tells you that you're a king, you know what? You start to feel so you have to behave like a king, and you start to bring up other people, and it changes your language. So that's my thing now, you know. I believe that it isn't, again, it's like saying white people. So when my parents came to this country, let me give you one quick story. My mum always used to say to me, I send you to school to learn. So I don't send my child to school to learn, because I teach him. And I am able to look at his homework. My mum couldn't look at my homework past about 9 and tell me what I was doing right or wrong. So now I've got the teacher's number. I'm part of the PTA. Little more, I'll be a governor. So I'm involved. If something happens to my child, I will know. And I'm saying to people, we have to take control. I'm a control freak. I get that. You know, my wife will tell you that. But unless I control it, then somebody else is bringing up my child. And that's not happening.
Well, we're not too far disagreeing. This is what I'm trying to say in the sense of maybe you're misinterpreting. I'm saying that we need to bring back some of that old school value. Yeah, we're getting too westernized and diluted, and we're bringing up our children on some of these Western values that is alien to us. That's nothing to do with us. Our parents didn't teach us that way. And we started that by saying, I repeat it, is that there's a lot of us first generation parents that were saying we're not going to grow up our children the way our parents grew us up. And there was nothing wrong with that. You know, there were some parts that we looked at and we said, but Mum, Dad, why are you bowing down to this white man over here? Why don't tell
What about beating? What about beating?
Beating, I disagree. Beating, all of that is ingrained slave mentality. I grow 3 children and I've never beat none of them. Yep, they are 28, 27, and 23, and I've never beat none of them. Every one of my children, they will tell you I reason with them. They get in trouble, I sit down and I break it down to them. Consequences, choices, roads that they can take, the right road and the left road, and which one is wrong for them. I don't beat my children. I always said it. Yes, you see my children, you see, when they misbehave, I'm going to bust their ass like my parents used to do to me. I never done it. I was talking it, but when the reality came, sorry, Rudy.
Yeah.
Go on.
I find that when people do actually beat their children or they hit their children, it's anger that's within them. It's not actually the child.
It's not even anger. Sorry, it's coward.
It's the frustration that they have of not being able to deal with the situation that they find themselves in before they lick out. Yeah. As a young father myself, growing up, I mean, I found myself right on the edge of that very scenario. And like you said, it was a case of turning around and saying, I didn't want to bring up my daughters the way that my parents brought me up. But it's the little things that are of concern. I mean, I openly have said, and people say I shouldn't say this, but I have smoked weed in the day, right? But I would have never smoked it in my mum's house. I would never have done it in front of her. Yes, but our generation are allowing that shit to happen, and that's where that's where shit starts to break down. And those are the values that I think you're making reference to, if I'm correct, Marky Mark. When you
But
talk
it's
about
more than,
the old
more than that,
values.
Rudy, isn't it? It's more than that. It's, you know, the two stories I tell often are, you know, when the teacher is trying to get the black parent to come to the school and she's too busy or he's too busy working, and then the teacher take the mobile phone and the parent is down there the next morning, or the child come home with a £30 sheepskin coat, and when the child come home, the mother say, where you get that coat from? So my friend is telling them, and before she tell them to take the coat back, she say, here's £30, get me one as well.
One of them
So
things there,
when we're on, I don't buy anything from the back of a lorry anymore. I did. I'm not judging it. I did. A couple of Irishmen sell me and Robbie about 12 telly. And what we had to do, we had to go to the dark side because we thought we were going to make money. One of the television them, he unwrapped it, had the cling film. Telly nice.
Yep.
The others will never have nothing inside.
Nothing. Yep. I know them Irish man. Yep.
They would tell you gold. They would tell you all kind of things.
I could be in jail now, really, for where we had to go that day. There, me and Robert Grant, we had to go to the dark side. But I'm saying to you, if you ask me, no, I don't want no mobile. I don't want no chain. I don't want no jacket. I don't want no speak. I'm not buying nothing. And I don't want no DVD. They don't even do that anymore. Remember them man they used to come down our shopping center? DVD.
Yes. Gone. Yes, that's right.
No, messed that up.
Now I'm gonna have to say on that note, I have to say that you've actually spoiled my my small circle with your presence, guys. You really have, and thank you for upbranding me. I have to say that for one. I thank you very much for that. No, I mean I hide it. I know I'm a lower brand than the both of you, and I've been very fortunate to see my year out because this is my last show of the year, and I feel like you've blessed me. I feel like the two of you have blessed me by coming on here, so that people can see the two people who I respect as my peers when it comes to talking on this type of platform. Not on stand-up comedy. Fuck you, Eddie. Right? You're funny, man, but no, it's not. Right?
Man's letting out his emotions now.
I got to say the utmost respect. And just before you leave the platform, is there anything that you'd like to say to anybody? Mark him up.
What I would like to say to you two is that I very much enjoy this, and I think there's a lot more mileage in this. So next year, I would like to invite the two of you onto my platform, and we can do this again. Because right about now, I'm just more in about upliftment of our people. We're too derogatory, it's too much derogatory talk and demonizing our people. And there's a lot of shit going on right now with our people. There's all these videos going on and people's names being mentioned of child molesters and rapists and all these things. And we need more of this to show people that there is more, because there's a lot of people that they're at that crossroads and they need to be influenced one way or another. And these type of talk, the kind of things that we do individually and coming here tonight and doing it collectively, it can only empower us as a people, as far as I'm concerned. I've gone past the egotistical thing. I'm not into the ego. All I'm in about is elevating myself and my people, to higher levels and places that we can get to when we learn to love and like each other, because we don't like each other. So respect to you guys. I've got to say big respect to all those in the chat room who have been firing in and posting up their own comments. It's something that we need to do again, and we need to keep on doing, driving on the message. So that's what I want to do. And that's something that we'll talk about, and maybe we can try and make it happen. But I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, and thank you for inviting me on your platform, Rudy. And enough respect to you.
Thank you very much, man. Please don't go,
No problem.
Do not leave the green room. I am not just kicking you out, okay? Eddie. You took the invitation, man. Thank you very much, man. You was always going to get an invite. You was always going to get an invite. It was just a matter of case of whether or not you were going to accept it. That's how I looked at it. I thought you would have said you're too foul-mouthed for me to actually converse with Rudi, because I always assumed that you looked at me that way.
You could speak any the way you want. I'm on your platform, aren't I?
No, but that's not the point. That's not the point.
Why wouldn't I accept it?
Well, I mean, there's like you said, there's levels of acceptancy when it comes to certain types of vernacular and the way that people approach certain things. And I didn't feel that I fell within your remit over these years. But we've all grown and we've all expanded. And you explained to me quite at the beginning of the show where we really were coming from, and I appreciated that. But I more appreciate the fact that you've actually taken the time out to come and talk to the Rants and Bants crew and myself, and just to grace us with your presence, you know. And we are proud of the fact that you've accepted your MBE for your specific reasons, you know, and one can only respect that, you know. And you've got a lovely wife, by the way. I met her at Trends, but at the time you were there, right? But yes, bruv. Total. Come on, man, you gotta let it go.
I don't know. It's really interesting to watch her grow this year. See, this year's been fascinating, and to watch her.
The truth of the matter is, if there was no glass ceiling, I'd be either producing or directing something right about now for the BBC or one of the bigger boys.
Yeah, but stop doing that, Rudi. So let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something.
Yeah, sure.
Even today, I can hear it in the way that you speak. You are worthy. You see, part of what I learned this year when I took on the BBC, and what I've learned about myself, is many of the barriers that have held me back have been my own barriers.
I hear that.
And you have to think of yourself, Rudi, as a king. You are worthy. You put on a show. You produce a show. You do everything. I couldn't do what you do. Miss Lady, the boss lady, sits next to me and does everything, and I just talk. And what you have to say to yourself is, I am worthy, and I'm going to do this, and this is my aim. Write down what you want to achieve in 2021. Set your goals. Don't let anything stand in your way. Be the king. You can be who you want to be. Do what you want to do. The only limit to what you can achieve are the limits of your own imagination. So I hear you talk a lot like somebody is holding you down. The person who's holding you down is you. Start, break away. Nobody's told you can't do comedy. Nobody's told you can't do this. Nobody's told you can't say what you want. You've invited me, I've come. Mark is come. And we're like, what are you talking about? Of course we come. We see you every day. We like what you're doing. Don't limit your own self. You understand me? I'm telling you off now. Uncle Eddie is talking.
I know.
Are you listening?
I know, because that's what I'm saying. We all, I say it time and time again. Marcus Simmons is in the room. It's just a shame that Mr. C is not in the room. We use that term. We stand on one another's shoulders. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so yes, I do listen. I totally listen. 110.
Listen, the one thing you know, it's a way back when they had Choice, when they had the Saturday morning show from 9 to 12. You know, as a talk show, that was the biggest show on Choice. And
Jeff Newman tells us all the time.
When we moved away from that, and we're like music and one extra, there is not a platform for people of an age to reason to talk. You and Marky talk there. We got domestic abuse. I've got a book downstairs of a woman who's written about what her father did to her. And if I can get that woman on a platform to speak, it's amazing. We've got things to talk about. We've got experiences to share. We've got grandchildren now. We've got, and I mean, there's a whole world out there. It's not being catered for. And I think that there are people like you who are doing it, as you say, you know, Kwaku, Quincy, Marky Mark, you know, just do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Well, you're an ambassador, bro. You are at the forefront of it all, man. And you need to know that. And you need to be congratulated. You need to be congratulated for it. You should be congratulated for it. Never mind the MBE. Fuck that shit, right? This is us, the community, telling you, you know, just how much we appreciate you and all the work that you've done. right? And like I said, I watched you from Shinolas, you understand? To Caesars, you understand? Yeah? To those late night shifts that you was doing, you understand? You didn't just get there, Eddie. Fucking earned it, blood. You know what I mean? And that's why I have to say respect. 110. Now come off my platform. Come off. You know what I mean? I have to get rid of him. You understand?
I was just gonna say thank you to Mark, and I really, really enjoyed it. Hopefully, Rudy, we can do it however we do it. Yeah. And let people, you know, put the comments up. Let's people ask questions. Let's reason. We don't have to agree, as Marky says, you know, but we can reason, and then people can apply whatever works for them. You know, it's all right.
Are you actually prepared to just do another? I'm trying to bring Mark back in the room.
Ray and nephew have got him, I think.
Mark, do me a favor, yeah. Just go out and come back in because we can't get you in the room. I want to get you in the room and allow people. Just
he's Jamaican from South London. He can't take the pace.
That Ray and nephew just
can't take the pace. Yeah, he's not. He's not that.
Get up his phone, man. Let me try and send him a private message, right?
Yeah, I'm ready for my next glass. Rockspoon.
Right, he's doing it. Yeah, he's actually doing it. So hopefully he'll come back in the room, and we'll spend just the next 15 minutes, right? If there's any question that you have for these guys, right, I'm gonna want you to throw them up. Okay, any question? Because the one thing that Eddie did say to me, he said to me, "Ask me anything." Yes, you did.
Nobody ready for me to ask you anything back.
That's all you say. He said to me, "Ask me anything," right? And I promised Eddie that I would not step out of a conversation that I had with him, and I'm going to hold true to that. Let me just call Mark in. Oh, he's back. Good, right? Because when I'm saying to you guys that these two are the heavyweights on the internet right now, I mean it, and I'm talking about for people over the age of 30. I'm not talking about people who are just excited to go out for the first time and have a drink for the first time and have a split for the first time. I'm talking about men who have brought up children. Yeah, who brought up children. Yeah. So Mark, we're going to spend the next 10 minutes, right? And any questions that comes up in the comments, I'm going to put them up, right?
Come on and get me.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Right. So here we go. Here's the first question.
Halfway.
Here's the first question. Eddie, it's for you.
Are we in?
How hard? Can you hear me, Eddie?
Right.
I can hear you. It's Marky.
I'm in now.
Are you in?
I'm in now. I'm going to get rid of this.
We're just going to spend 10 minutes. Just going to spend 10 minutes, right, where people will ask you a question, okay? And 10 minutes and no more. So, Eddie, how hard is it to be a parent to young children at your age in this time?
Really hard. Sometimes I get on my knees to play with them and I can't get back up.
Okay. Denise is asking, what are you drinking?
The High Commissioner of Dominica phoned me to say she wanted to send me a bottle of brandy. So I wanted to taste it while I was talking to you and Marky Mark. Because I know Marky Mark is weak. He's weak. So I wanted to I heard that
Marky, can't you hear him slurring his words already? Shut up, man. Shut up. Tell us about the Real McCoy and what was like working on that. That's a long question, Trev. That's a big question.
So Real McCoy was fantastic. We didn't know it was what it was, but you know, I think Luella Gideon and Leo Mohammed were captains. They wouldn't allow us to do rubbish. Leo would actually, there would be a briefing, let's say on a Monday, and there'd be 50 people around a giant table at the BBC. And so we'd read all the scripts. And Leo would see one he didn't like. And in front of all of them, he would do this. That's what he would do. And that's the reason none of the black people ever got anything is Leo Mohammed, because that was scary to watch. He would tear it up in front of them. So the only sketches we would do were sketches that were uplifting, empowering, and funny. And if we didn't like it, we didn't do it. And I don't think I think 90 we ended that in 95. Nobody had ever seen anybody do anything like that before.
Excellent. I mean, when it actually came to comedy, I mean, Leo for me was the man until he started pushing people into a coma. But yes, Eddie, why is your show not on for 2 hours? 1 hour is never enough.
Because I'm watching Mark do that 3-hour show. Marky, I leave work at 8 o'clock and I see you and I'm walking. And sometimes I walk from Oxford Circus down to Liverpool Street. Just listening to you with my phone, bumping into people.
Yeah.
Watching you talk. No, I mean, one of the things that I do it for a living, right? Marky does it as a vocation. I do it for a living. My wife is a wag. She likes underfloor heating. And she liked bubble bath. So just like sex, I've learned to make sure that people always want more, and it works.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. So Mark, what made you do chat shows?
I said, was radio, the pirate radio station that was on. He loved that show, and he told me that and to do something I wouldn't get that from anybody. He knew me for a long time. He could see he had a lot, and he realized that I would be able to host and show, and that's why I've never looked. Eternally set up. No.
Okay. We hear you. We sort of hear you, Mark. I think
this brand is very good, Rudy.
Yeah. No, you're coming.
Am I breaking up again?
Yeah, you're breaking up again. So in other words, I think you've got to take a leaf out of Eddie's book, take the MBE so that you can get some doors opened, so you can get a little bit more money. Yeah, so that you can pick up your internet, right? And unfortunately, you're too comics. You're just a satirist, my friend. But right now, you're just dog meat for us. You understand what I'm saying? You're just dog meat, lad. Never mind, Mark. We'll give you another question. Yeah. What's your biggest challenge working with the youth of today?
Is getting them life is 5 minutes. You get because hang on, I got please.
All right. What you guys are gonna have to do, right? Is you're gonna have to forgive me. Yeah. I'm gonna have to terminate the show now because I think with like you said, you got to leave them wanting more. That's what Papa Eddie has said. Papa Smurf has said that it's important leaving them wanting more. So I'm gonna take a leaf out of that book right now, and I'm gonna do just that. Kick the both of them out. Yeah. Sometimes you got to get rid of the rubbish. You know what I mean? I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in to Keep It Real with myself. It's my last show of my year. I've been blessed by two of the greatest orators I know, Eddie Nestor and Marky Mark. You guys take it easy. Look out for me promos. I will be doing a Boxing Day show with Mr. C, Special P, and Blair. All right, but have a festive Kwanzaa, one and all. Have a festive Kwanzaa. Thank you very much.
How well does a community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in the Asian community for 28 days, in Jewish communities for 20 days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the black community, 6 hours. This is what we at the Black Wall Street UK desperately want to change. We've developed a unique mobile app called the Black Wall Street UK. This is a business directory for black-owned businesses all across the UK. With the Black Wall Street UK app, You can find any black-owned businesses around you with the tap of a finger. So next time you're searching for a nearby hair product store or a nail shop or an estate agent or any black-owned business or service provider, just do a super quick search on the Black Wall Street UK. Our app allows you to search by business type and location. You can save your favourite businesses, add your own black-owned business, read reviews from other clients and much more. The Black Wall Street UK, the entire UK black community at your fingertips. Free app now available on Apple and Play Store. www.thebblackwallstreetuk.com.
Denise Francis. Remember what? 3 more questions. Come on, people. 3 more questions.
I know what if I read it like that.
Rudy, just ignore it, Rudy. Ignore it.
Hold on. You just step me up.
Rudy?
Already gone.
Rudy is frozen.
Listen, man, I was born here, yeah? East Ender, born and bred. And
I'm good,
let's have our run conversation. Forget about them lot. Okay.
But you know, I'm waiting to get wet, really. Yeah? I'm the only woman that's gonna get wet. So
Okay.
I'm waiting.
Okay, let's move on.
I must say, first of all, those who are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, our Anything Goes YouTube podcast. And then when we go live, you get the notification.
Young people, plenty of money. That and the milk round. You remember the milk round?
Yeah, and the reason being is that number one, that the way how things are taught is well beneath the standard of your child. So your child's now having to bum itself down.
Red flags, and we don't know who they're for. Heaven is between a woman's legs, as far as I'm concerned. Right there. Send them picnics to bed.
And red card, remember red card. Let's do a proper shit.